So, hi, welcome to your November group Akashic meditation. And we are, let's say, at the end of 2025. In some calendars, we've already begun the next year. In some calendars, this is the last year, like the Chinese calendars, Shirley and Emily, you were sharing. So, we're bringing in that energy of beginning and ending, but also bringing in the energy of number seven, because today is the seventh. And number seven is all about stepping into your spirituality, stepping into your teachings, and really grounding your magic, because there's so much cosmic energy coming through. And how can we really step into our magic in this reality as we are in other realities as well? So today's theme is the working with the shadows of our starseed lives, or our starseed selves. I know that all who tune into this are starseeds in some way. We are all starseeds in some way. Some could be Earth starseeds as well, who come on Earth repeatedly and are here. That's a concept that is not spoken about that much, but there are people who just incarnated on Earth and they only want to be here, and they are starseeds that have now started to go in other parts of the galaxy to be of assistance and to be of service. So we are going to go into off-planetary experiences for ourselves and journey from there. There may be accesses and there may be different storylines that once completed, we will know why there has been a block in abundance and how can that become like a slide, and we just do wee and slide down and all this abundance is flowing to us. That's what they're showing me. And there's the other part, which is about trust, and the trust not just in in the spiritual aspect of trusting the universe, but also trusting the people we love, and how that is manifesting in our life in a way that things that we hold on so tightly, can we just loosen that a little bit more and feel the love and the joy as we flow through it even more. So the energies are pivotal. That's what they're saying, pivotal energies. And so we are standing right at that place where the pulley changes its direction. So whatever this direction is, we don't need to know it fully, but we know that we are being guided. So let's get straight into our meditation. So in the place where you are, if you could just allow yourself to really, really step into this moment with a giggly smile and joy. There's just so much love in this space. We've made it this far in this year. So congratulations, and so beautifully. So allowing these words to just pass through you and the energies to pass through you. Today it's only coming through in light language. So this is the opening prayer that is connecting your energy line, your hara line, to your sacred star and your sacred stone. As you focus on your heart, a gentleness is upon you. And now this gentleness is spreading all through you, through your arms and through the vertical lines of your body, kind of creating like a plus sign. Yana saratukura hasala natuko ena shanastarana ta ala hasaya, ala hasaya, ala hasaya. Each one tuning into this meditation. I'm seeing this sacred geometry emerging. So there's a plus sign, and then there are connections, and it's creating like a diamond. And now this two-dimensional diamond is becoming multidimensional, because it's happening on every side, every facet, until it becomes such a complex geometrical figure that I'm seeing it has 108 sides, 108 phases of itself. Beautiful gentle blue is beautifully pouring down from the top to the bottom. Beautiful yellow is emerging from the left to the right. Yalana surui turukurunoshu onasanasa. Beautiful magenta is pouring from the left to the right. So this was right. Yellow was from the right to the left, and magenta is the left to the right. Yana surui tuku. It doesn't matter. It's going to merge anyway. Yana salahata kuru shiana sunuku sunuku turunuku sha'a. Kusha'a, kusha'a, kusha'a. And right in the middle, the meeting point of the sun and the moon occurs. Yahasha hasarana tukuru nushunaku. All the feminine aspects of yourself are meeting the masculine aspects of yourself. The sun is meeting the moon. The stars are meeting the earth. Yana sara tukuru nushuyana kalana tukunuku. One is becoming the other, merging and melding so that it becomes one giant explosive and implosive love. Yana shurui tukuru noshu onosu. And as we align together, Asarana tukuru nushianaka, this beautiful circle is also becoming a sacred geometry all across the planet. Yana sarana tukuru nushu. Each one tuning into this is connected in their star maps all across the galaxy, all across the cosmos, all across the grand creation. Yana sarana tukurunuku. You are the meeting point, the nexus of many of these lines that go far beyond your understanding of creation. Yahana suruno tukuro hata sarana sana salaha. Many of these lines are going into this earth plane, connecting to the nexus points of transition and pivotal points of change on this planet. And many of these are interconnecting with everyone else in the circle. There are many, it's quite packed today. Many energetic beings are choosing to be a part of this creation today. Nasara hatarana sulana shahasayasa. Shahasayasa, Shahasayasa, Inalana Kura Takasa. And as this giant sacred geometry on this planet is being reconnected, reformed, it can be described as beehive formations, hexagonal formations connecting and packing together. Nasranatu Kurunushiana Sulunuku Shahasaya. And as this is happening all across the planet, it is also happening all across your cellular systems, Yana Shunuku, in every organ and in every aspect of your beingness, Yanashu, in this physical body. Nasana Tukuru no Tuku. And these lines on the edges of these hexagonal units of energy, these nexus points of sacred geometry, they are all connecting and singing a unique code to you. Nahatara saranatu kurunushu inalanasa inalanasa inalanasa. The energy of water, the element of water, is being filled into many of these containers, these hexagonal units. Nasaraha tarana 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 tarana. The element of fire is also just coming a little bit above the energy of water. The fire and water coming together as they always do. Now, as these geometries come together, it may feel like this place is heating up a little bit, or you may perceive the energy in a way that is unique to you. And this energy is just settling down as the connections are being formed and clicked in. Now, as you're forming these connections, there is a part of you that is uniquely you, and that will not be affected by the high highs and low lows of the collective. You are in your sphere, and what is perfect for you will come to you through your energy line. Nasaranasa. Now, as we move further from here, I'm looking at what happens a bit higher. In our physical bodies, in the sacred geometry, is 19 to 22 inches above our crown. So I'm seeing that individually and then collectively for this field. And what is coming up is a workshop. This is the workshop where glass is being cut and carved upon and painted. So there's a lot of intricate work being done with something that can be um, delicate to work with. So within this workshop, I'm seeing a lot of skilled people. Somebody is cutting the glass, somebody is tinting the glass a little bit, somebody is creating shapes and designs on it, and somebody is then setting it up in the right places so that it can be the right kind of mirror in the most beautiful way. So the reflection that is seen is assisting not just with showing you who you are right now, but showing you who you are in your highest potential. This is the energy of the collective, and this is the energy for November. The energy is calling us to show us that this is the highest, best version of you in this moment. And it challenges us in loving ways to step up and step in to being aligned with this version. Anything else that we are trying to be, any roles that we are wanting to play, any interactions that are taking us away from this are just moving out of our interest, are moving out of our expression easily. They're just sliding away like melting butter. Nasara hatahara atasa. So this is the energy of the collective, and within this space, whatever your grand aspect is working on, who you are, what you are becoming, this grand aspect of you is being shown in the mirror. This mirror is ornate. The frames are beautiful. The colors are beautiful all around in the frames. But the reflection of you is truly who you are. That's not changing. It's a reminder also that there are many things that may be externally important, but what is internally important and what is most important to your soul is who you are seeing in the mirror. Nasaranataha. And how you are feeling when you see this person in the mirror. Nasarahashaha. So taking in this energy, we now move into looking at the colors in the collective field, and we'll go into star lineages to see what pieces of this mirror reflection are coming to us today. What are the shadows that we haven't been seeing or that we can benefit from by working on and working with? So as we are moving ahead, I'm seeing the first color emerge, and this is an orange. And continuing with the theme of Orion from last month, we first are identifying this color as Orion. And Orion is also vibrationally very similar to where we are right now. Orion was very close to coming into its unity consciousness at this stage where we are on Earth right now. Many planets on Orion were at that stage at that time. Ya Salaha. We are being welcomed. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, ooh, yeah, ooh. Self-doubt, the energy of self-doubt is coming forward. And Orion is a very interesting template where many have lived lifetimes of self-doubt, where there were people actively in their lives that told them they could not do something. They were not capable of doing something, that this was beyond their means, this was out of their reach. Nasaha hasa 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 ha 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 liana takarasa. All these voices that you hear now, whether they are dressing themselves up as your own voice, or they sound like someone else's. These tendencies, these patterns of self-doubt. And I'm also getting a very extreme word, self-hatred, which may be relevant to some. Any of these vibrations of self-doubt to self-hatred on the slider scale, whichever vibration is coming up for you, is now being addressed. Through the whole act of polarizing and really clarifying and playing all sides of the polarization and the triangulation, being the victim, the offender, and the rescuer, or any forms that those triangles can take. We have played all those parts. Yeah, Hanasa, beautiful, old, ancient soul. You have played these parts. You know how this works. And you have understood why it is something a being would do and how they would justify it. And right in the middle of all those perspectives is the truth. Nasa ataka. And the truth always comes with neutrality. The truth always comes when we wait for it to emerge before we make a conclusion about it prematurely and express to others or talk about it with others. So what was happening in Orion, one of the biggest ways of polarizing was when an issue was spoken about and shared with others as conclusively as it had already happened. But in reality, it was not concluded yet. There was more to come in the story. And because these conclusions were prematurely made, but it looked like it was completing then, those situations were given the consciousness to complete in the incomplete way. And then ultimately, a surge force operation took place where all these emotions were piled up together and sent to light. It was an artificial intervention that was needed to really release and recover those parts of ourself that have prematurely assumed something has happened. And there's always more to the story. Everything that we see, everything that we witness, the Orion beings are coming in. The Council of Orion is coming in. And they're calling themselves the Council of 13. This Council of 13 is stepping in and sharing with us that if the story does not have a happy ending, it's incomplete. But the happy completion is not in the way that you see it or you expect it, but you will know it when it happens. And there is wisdom in not making conclusions about something just yet. You can acknowledge what you're feeling about it in the moment, but that does not define the taste of the whole pudding. And they are sharing that by sampling something, it doesn't mean that the whole thing is like that. There is more to it. There is more complexity to understanding the cosmos. You cannot say that you touched the fabric of water and the whole cosmos is only water. You cannot just look at the shadow and say the whole universe is just shadow. Or you cannot just see light and say the whole universe is only light and the shadow is just an illusion. Everything is there and everything has its space until it all concludes and completes in its natural cycle. And what that is will occur to you. So if you feel something is complete just now, there may be more to the story if you're not happy with the conclusion. And this is not the personality side of you we are speaking with. We're speaking with your soul. We're speaking with that inner knowing of you that understands when something has completed. When the fruit has ripened itself and has fallen off the tree, that's when it is complete. Plucking a fruit which is still not ripe from the tree doesn't do service to the fruit or to you or to the tree. So allowing the fruit to ripen and allowing it to fall in your hands when it's done or on the ground and you can pick it up. Shuruku is the wisdom that they offer. They are saying don't assume the taste of the whole pudding by checking it with one spoon. Try the different angles of the pudding. Try it at different moods. Try it at different times, and you will experience more complexity and more richness in it. And Orion brings us the richness and understanding through complexity. And ultimately, the complexity is the sacredness. That brings them to unity consciousness. And that is the wisdom offered to us here on earth. Beautiful starseeds, you have come here to anchor this. And we have come here to lovingly remind you that this is what you have done eons ago. And you can do it again. This is what you came here to do. Yahana Shanako Toronoko Shayasa. 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 We gift you patience. We gift you love. We gift you peace. Ha Saha. Ha Saha. So in the collective, all the vibrations of the Orion template that has impatience, that has premature judgment, that has polarization, is now coming into unity, completion, love, and peace. Yasa, yasa. Yasa, yasa. Yasa, yasa. We now move into Pleiades. We are actually right in the middle of a complex star fleet creation on Taygeta, one of the planets on the star, around the star Taygeta, within the Pleiadian system. We come here because this is where the council sits, the chair of the council sits. Nasahasa yasasa. Yalanatakara. Yatakaranaka. So they want to show us the crime records that happened in Orion. Yanashunuku. This is not to tell you that don't love Pleiades or Pleiadians are bad. This is to humanize the experience of being a starseed. Nasara Takaranaka. And whether you have chosen to live on a particular planet around the sun or a particular planet around some other stars in the galaxy, you will have your own journey of evolution, and that is similar in many ways because we are humanity after all. Yasaya. So when they are showing us, when this chair of the star system, the star fleet of the star system is showing us this, she is showing us the patterns why things went awry. Many beings stopped believing in a unified, collective, benevolent system because it didn't give space to them for their own creations. Some of those creations created disturbances. Some of those creations perpetuated the importance of suffering. And some of those creations were about certain words like anger, retribution, revenge, and hate. Now, nobody associates now the star system of Pleiades, so the star asterism of Pleiades with all of this. But this also existed. And those beings were then banished into their own other creations. Some of them had remote existences in Pleiades, but many of them moved away to other star systems, other asterisms, where they could propagate and continue to work and operate in that frequency. Many of them went to Orion. Many of them, after that, from Orion, went into Marduk, from Marduk to Mars to Earth. And they brought in those templates of separation. They brought in those templates of the hidden side. If you watch Star Trek, I'm just giving you this as an example. but this was something similar that happened in the stars. Now, if you look at the example of Vulcans, Vulcans are very different, characteristically to Pleiades in a way. Vulcans in the Star Trek language were beings who used the power of the mind for everything, but they really suppressed their negative emotions but through meditation. Um, and In its own way, there was similarity with what Pleiadians had done. They had brushed under the carpet any shadow side for only light. And they said the only way to see and live a light of high vibration is to ignore the shadow and be with the light. It does work from time to time, especially when we're going through a challenging, pivotal situation or a crisis. But it does take its toll on our system because we are everything, light and shadow. And instead of processing it in the most respectful way, honoring the whole journey of why the shadow has come up, if we just brush it under the carpet, it can also create that representation of piracy within the whole beingness of the person. So within Pleiadian systems, space pirates happened. And these space pirates were not benevolent, not kind, and they had almost crystallized the shadow aspects that the society was not ready to see. It is time for those aspects that are coming up in our mainstream media. Many of these beings that have been within these space piracy programs uh, that originated in Pleiades because there was no space for negative emotions, or prematurely emotions were labeled negative. They are now coming up to be healed, because this is also happening on the earth in many spiritual circles where beings are being shown positivity, happiness, and light. And it's almost like a person gets shamed for having a heavy emotion or a dense emotion about something. And there are more ways of expressing this. Um, there are dogs and babies crying in the background physically as this is coming up, because it's the opening now for those hidden repressed emotions to be released in the most healthy way, in the most gentle, graceful, elegant way. Ayana surui to korono kosho. And the way they are explaining it is, um, if you use certain colors in the wrong landscape, they clash. If you look at colors in nature, the colors of flowers and leaves and trees, they are all in perfect color matching sequence. Not one color clashes with the other. Everything is in divine order. And yet, sometimes when colors are not placed in the right environment or not in the right setup, they can clash and they may look bad. And that is the repressed emotions. That's how they see repressed emotions. They don't see them as bad, they see them as mismatching the environment. They just need to have the right space, safe environment to process them so that they can be a part of that collective ecosystem of rainbows, of cosmic combinations of elegant paradisical planets and paradisical um, feelings and creations, whether it is in our minds, whether it is in our physical reality on earth, or in the whole of the cosmos. So this aspect of you that has lived these Pleiadian lives, that has either never heard of these space pirates or never wanted to talk about negative emotions because then that will make us negative. Is being given strength and love so that we may see our shadow with grace, with compassion, with peace, and allow those parts of ourselves to return home and be placed in the right color spectrum. Ya shara satara natakala asha sha'a 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 sha'a. You see, this is all about sounds and colors in the higher dimensions. In your language of higher dimensions, say the Pleiadians. Yana shu'aura katarasa ya. Yana lana kuraka. And we we were seeing the truth from a higher vibration when we said everything is love and light. And the light can be the different shades of light and colors. The sound can be the different tones of music. And if we didn't have the minor chords, we wouldn't be able to perform some of the most beautiful pieces of music in our creations. And that same way, um, those sad notes, those minor notes, are also those in between shades of colors that we don't want to use very often, but they do create elegant transitions. And any elegant transition between two major colors is the minor. Yana suruno kuru kuruku. The one that looks like it's in between doesn't belong, but it is exactly where it belongs, in between. Yana sara hataranaka. All those parts of yourself that are feeling in between in this moment. They are neither here nor there. Yana sha anaka. They are here. Yana shunuku. Let's call them. They are inviting you to call them within your field now. Yeah, Sharanak. The part of you emerges and says, what about the stuck feeling that I have? I don't want to be here for too long. Yana suruno kosha atakarasha. Yana sarana kana kosho itakaraka. The positive bypassing. Yana shukurunuku. It can be a temporary medicine, but not a permanent solution. The permanent solution will be to process it, to fully witness it. There is no medicine greater than sacred, loving, profound witnessing. Yahasha ataraka rukunashu itarakuraka. Yanashanakula hasha. So the parts of us that have been in that in between, that confusion, that place, and that music, that sound, that is feeling like it doesn't belong, and it's wrong to feel this. It's time to acknowledge those. And you may notice, beautiful one, that the most profound, deepest healing has occurred when you have acknowledged and brought those parts back to you, saying, it was okay for me to feel that way. And that's why this has happened. It was not wrong. It was only fair. Ya Hasharanaka Araka, Yalanaka, bringing in compassion for all those parts of you. Ya Haranara, Ya Haranaha. These patterns, they are coming up, yes, to take a bit of your airtime, but also they're only one part of the whole scheme. If we are only looking at the shadow, that is also something out of balance. Yana Shurunuku, wise one, beautiful one. You know this, and that's why you see the light. That's why you transition into seeing the light when you see the shadow. And we ask you if you can do both. Because if only one thing was possible, if only one thing could be seen at a time, it's strange to say this, but you wouldn't have a pair of eyes. Just as both eyes see light and shadow at the same time, we would invite you now to see all parts of you at the same time, not one compartmentalized with the other. So as we continue, we have moved from Pleiades and we now go into the next star system. Yana shala atakasa ahasa yarana sa ala takala hishasa. So, after the wisdom that we have received from Orion, from Pleiades, we are now being taken into the next major one, Sirius, to see all the shadows of the Sirian systems and to embrace and heal those parts of ourselves that have activated some of the shadows. These shadows have come up recently more and more, and there has been a deeper understanding of what loyalty is. What the aim of doing this is, what the intention and focus of doing whatever you're doing is. How much to give and how much to restrain. For sometimes, beautiful Syrian beings, you see yourself as the big brothers, big sisters, the ones who have gone through this before. And instead of holding humanity and holding the people around you to help them walk step by step, you try to carry them. Yana shurunu rukunuku, because it feels it's taking too long for them to walk. Yana shunu tukurunu shianaka. And you have been notorious for this. Yana shunuku. We as Syrians have been notorious for this. Ya sharana kurukuranaka. But carrying somebody while they were meant to walk is only delaying the process for them if the intention was to help. Yana saranatu purunishanaka. Beautiful one, who are you carrying in your life right now? Nasharono kurunuku shainaka. Yes, sometimes the answer is at the tip of your tongue. Do this and everything will be okay. Go there and it will be fine. Don't do this because this is not good. Inashiro kuruinaka. All those are methods of carrying the other when you are only meant to hold their hand as they walk. Yaranatu urunushu. It's also a time to recognize and fully acknowledge the wisdom you have gained so far, and that has allowed you to walk Yanashurunuku and hold somebody's hand and witness them as a wise being. Yana Shurui Naturuku. That is you stepping into even deeper wisdom, beautiful one. And we congratulate you. We appreciate you. We love you. Yana Sharana Uruku. Yashara Uturu. Yana Sayaka. Yasaya. Yasaya. All those parts of you that you have been carrying. Yana Shurui Nataka Shalamaka. For others, and sometimes carrying even yourself so that you didn't have to walk those paths. Yana shurunuku shuunukurunuku. Yana sara. For example, using different tools to alleviate your pain, but not to really even notice what the pain is about and how it has come to you and what it was trying to do by being with you. When we don't talk to it and when we don't deal with it in that way, we are even carrying ourselves when we were meant to walk. Yanashurunuku. And it's a load too heavy to carry. The different multidimensional versions of you carrying you instead of just aligning with you and witnessing you. So the greatest lesson that the Syrians have learned from their shadows is learning to be sacred witnesses rather than carrying somebody. That rebellious anger that comes from witnessing someone making a mistake. It is okay to feel that. And it is okay to really examine and process that before you feel the instinct to do it like that for others. This is the wisdom we offer to you, beautiful ones, because we've walked that path and we realized that every being is sovereign and every being is choosing to be a part of their experience in exactly the way they are showing up now. So as these Syrian beings are speaking, the beings from a very old energy, the Anunnakis, as we call them, the ones who lived on Sirius C, are stepping in. That's the shadow side that we have not particularly wanted to see or explore or talk about as much in the spiritual wisdom parts. Yes, it began from there. The discoveries and the explorations came, but they were not shared in the most aligned ways with their full truth. They were shared in partial truths, dear ones. Ya Sharana Purataka. Originally, Sirius C beings, the beings that we know as Anunnakis, their ancestors, the original ones who were there, they genetically worked out a physical formula to be in bodies that could handle tough weather, that could handle a lot of the stuff that was going on that planet, which was losing its traction to the star, and the star was losing its power and traction. And that's why lots of physical adaptations were needed. And due to the physical adaptations, these beings genetically modified and worked with the reptilians to really bring in their sturdiness, their hardiness within their spiritual nature from Vega. Yana Salana Takurunuku or Lyra. Yana Sharira Nakura Nakura Sha'ataka. And these were beings that were trying to combine their shadow and light and integrate that. Ya lanata karasha oina saranaka sha'a. Many times we see them as people who wanted to control the world and they're trying to create the new world order, and they are manipulative, they're not benevolent, but there is light and shadow to it. It's not just shadow. Nasara nato korono shi anasala yanashiana kuraka. They were natural leaders. That's the genetic uh, um, essence that was created in the new versions and their new bodies. That was a superpower from the combination of their ancient spiritual wisdom, being the Lyrans and Vegans, and bringing in the technical wisdom and the sturdy and hardiness of physical reality from the reptilians. Yasha, Hana, Surana, Takaraka. And if stirred in the way, and if steered through wisdom, if steered through love and benevolence, this was a superpower. This indeed was. And on Earth too, a whole civilization of Atlantis was created through this intention. Ya la nash oroina takara sha'a, ya la hasha, ya shaha. Many people don't know this, but the being that we know as Thoth also had many lifetimes in Sirius C, and worked with those genetic combinations to understand and master self leadership, self mastery at a soul level, and then brought those pieces of wisdom to our earth dimensions and our physical histories on earth, especially during the Egyptian times, and before that during the Atlantean times. Yena Sharana Tukura Sha'ala Yasha, Yana Saranaka, the great wise one, Yanashu, who used the soul mastery and the hardiness and sturdiness of physicality to bring in love and light, to bring in benevolence, compassion, and positive direction of spirituality ascension. And how to create societies. And this created templates that could be used by other parts of the galaxy. That's why they came to be known as template builders. Not temple builders, template builders. They created templates of what it looks like to be in soul mastery. They created these formulas and different permutation combinations of these realities. Many esoteric concepts were created, and that's another gift. We do look at the shadow now, and the shadow is the feeling of controlling, manipulating, coercing, because the other is not as good as you. Yana tukorona shuilana kasha. Any part of us that has felt that from time to time. Yana shunukolanaka. Sometimes valid and sometimes assumed. Yeshurunuku. Maybe the other person has not had the experience and the wisdom or the lived experience of that particular situation, and you do. And yet there is a shadow that says, I will control this because I know this better. But when it comes with consent, and then it comes with self-mastery, with a lot of love, with a lot of compassion and benevolence, Yana Sharanatu Koronuko, the outcome is not just handling the situation itself, but deep spiritual learning, so that that lesson doesn't need to be repeated for this person, for this soul. And that is what we invite you to do now. Yana Saranaka, temporary fixes versus teaching a person how to fish. Yana shuruina lana kuraka. Yatakarana kushayaha. Yana salanaka. So acknowledging the parts of you that like to control things. That's the shadow. Another shadow from the Syrian systems. Like to control things because we don't trust somebody else to do it. Yana shurunu puruku. This is also the shadow of independence. Sometimes people are trying to be independent because they want to control. Yana shurunu purukusha. Yana saraka. It is healthy up to a point where they are not giving up their sovereignty, and they are finding a an elegant, dignified way to handle a situation. So until that point, it is powerful. Yeah, Lanaka. Independence becomes a shadow when the need for controlling, the need for making sure that this happens in this way. So not trusting and trying to manage that for others. Yalana kuru kuru nukusha yanaka is the shadow that is now coming to light. Any parts of us that is linked to our Syrian lineage and that may do that from time to time in our reality, Yana Sharunu Kuruku is being gently invited and upgraded into the aspect where you can Yalana Tukuro no Shuunu Kuruku be interdependent instead of being independent and aloof, disconnected, Yanashuruku, and going into that shadow. So this is also about letting people in and allowing trust to flow through you. Yana Sharana Guru Kuri Shahinaka. Yes, you can always trust that it's not going to be what you expected. Yana Shuru Kuruku. And that's a good thing. Yahasha, excuse me. Yahasha otu ruhu shayana lana korakasha. So this was a deep blessing from Sirius C, Sirius B, and Sirius A. Yarana to kora sha'a. Now we move to Arcturus. Yana shalana koro ina to koro nushu inaka. Yana ta'ana to koro nukusha. Sometimes being really wise becomes a hindrance because then you don't want to engage with people who are still going through the game. And sometimes the need for separately doing your own thing, not coming out and sharing, even though what wisdom you have can help others. Yeah, Nashurunuku, that can be something that Arcturians may do, especially when they adapt themselves to Earth life. Yeah, Nashurunuku Sha'atakalanaka. The other part is to feel extreme levels of loneliness. Yeah, Sharanatu Koronoko, because you were a part of a collective mind. You did have your individuality, but you still had a collective mind. You were so intimately connected to the thoughts, feelings, motions, and flows of others. Yeah, Nashurunu Kuruku Ranaka. And there was always so much love in the emptiness of life. It was in those gaps where there was nothing to do that you continued to feel the love and connection effortlessly. And that is very hard now because we don't feel that in humanity. The human template on earth works very differently. Yana Sharanaka. Here, emptiness and void is emptiness and void. It is neither positive nor negative. It is right in the middle of the heart of creation. It is the eye of observer through which all things happen and emanate. Ya sharotu kurena sha'a salana kasha. So there are many times when you see something is happening. And this is a kind of contradicting thing compared to Syrians. Syrians sometimes need to work to be stopped when they feel that they can help, but it's going beyond beyond the boundary of the other person's soul journey and how much help is helpful. The Arcturians, it's about engaging and helping when it is required, but they feel like, no, let me just witness and hold space for the other to journey. Yana Sharanako. So giving yourself the exception for that sometimes, to assist and share an insight when asked. Yelana Kuruku, because sometimes people actually come to you to ask for your insights, ask for your way of looking at things that can give them a fresh perspective. And Arcturians sometimes may even shy away from engaging with that. This is an invitation, that part of you that is imbibing and activating even at a deeper level the Arcturian lineage. This is the part of you that is now being invited to speak and share your wisdom. Yahasarantakara. Yashaha. Yashaha. Beautiful indigo energy is wrapping all around you now, in the throat area especially, allowing you to hold your wisdom and to stay your wisdom. Yana Shara. And share it in the way that feels aligned, rather than not sharing it at all. Ya Sharana Kurasha. From here, we now move to those very ancient parts of you in the Lyran lifetimes. Ya Sharana Kuraka. Many of you were bird beings. Many of you were feline beings. Many of you were horse beings. There was combination of all of different kinds of beings happening, experimentations happening. Ya Lanaka. Yeshi Atarana Tukuru Kosha Araka. And many of you were blue beings of Vega. Ya Hanasharana Kura Kasha Yataka. Yeah, first we go into the Lyran shadows. Ya Nasharu Kurunuko Shaharaka. The devastation and the way of processing shock has been always a challenge. Ya Rana Kuraka. Because in the original Lyran template, polarity was not designed. It was not there in the original design. It came in later. It came in as an upgrade to further assist with the great remembrance and ascension process. So most Lyrans go back to the original template rather than going into the upgraded templates when they are going back to the earliest memory. And so this part of them feels incomplete. Yahasharana Kurukotaka. And any kind of polarization, any kind of emotional unsafety can be very deeply hurtful to them. Nasarana Tukuru Kosha. This is the beautifully sensitive ones. This is the beautifully loving, gifted ones. All of you beings that remember those, that you had to train yourself in very subtle feelings of understanding emotional safety. Now to Iana Sarakaraka, begin to trust. No two stories end the same way. Yalana Kuruku. Each story has its unique storyline. Yara Karakata Shaya. Yalana Ka. Each story has its own mood boards. Ya Atakala Nasha Asaya. Yasaya. Yasaya. Yalana Kurakasha. That deep feeling now for many Lyrans that home is so far away. Yanashuruku, and that devastation of war was so hard for them to process. That comes up from time to time, and it also sometimes manifests as very very physical ailments. Yanashuru uturukurunuku sha'anaka, depression, anxiety. Yalana Kuraka. Injuries to your very beautiful mind can occur. The mind space where pain, suffering can be perpetuated if it is put on infinite loops. Yana Rana Tukurunuku. Just as there is an infinity, but there are two strings when you look at a bow. The Lyran guides are coming in and pulling up these strings and opening the loops so that it just becomes threads again. It becomes the strings again, free strings again. Yalana kurukuna sha'ana tukurunu hushaya. So that you can be happy, no strings attached. Nashula yalanasha. And the need for protection, for security goes away. Yanashurunuku, which is understandably hard for us on this planet because we like to hold on to things. We like to have some physical manifestation of safety. Anasarana kuruku ishana kuraka. When these bows are opened, Yalana Takoro Kosha, those looping patterns of getting stuck in those painful experiences and thinking about them on and on and on and on, they are coming off. So each time you feel like, oh my God, I'm getting into this loop. I'm thinking about this more than I need to think about it, pulling those strings of the bow to open and free it up. Yana Shurunuko. This is the tool that the Lyran star families are giving to us from the learned experiences they have had. Yeah, Naraka. We will also go into two more quickly. The last two. Yeah, Nasuruku, we're going into Vega. Many of you have been in Vega. Ya Lana Kura Ataka, the beautiful blue beings. Ya Nashura Takara Nashu Unasa. 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 Yeah, Lanaku. And one thing that is coming up here is spiritual ego. Yana Shurunu to Kurunuku. I have more gifts in this. I have more insights in this, and I am better. Yana Shulunu Kuruku. Because it was such a spiritually evolved society. Um, and it did have its shadow, but they were not able to fully process the shadow all the time. Some of it remained and became a part of their consciousness. One of the shadows was showing off spiritual talents as a way to boost spiritual ego. Yana saranatu korono kosha yanaka. When actually talents, those spiritual gifts, are temporary. Yana shurunuku, they're only ladders for us. We get from A to B through those ladders. But when we get to B and we continue to boast about our journey from A to B, we're only driving, looking at the rear view mirror of the car. We're not looking forward, they say. Yana surunu tu kurunu kusha. It's time to then unlock your next gift and keep doing that without attachment. Many of you may be stuck with the idea that, oh, I cannot hear or I cannot see sacred insights. I want to have more clear information. How come others have these gifts? How come I don't? So even if there is that comparison that is now being released, and they're asking you to bubble these up. Just allow these to go up as bubbles, like sitting at the bottom of a champagne glass. Anashuruku, releasing all these bubbles. Yeah, nasarana tukuruku. Any feeling of lack is just being released. At the same time, any aspect of spiritual ego that you may have attracted, whether it is within yourself or within people that you have looked up to as your spiritual guides, yana surunu kurukushana kula kanaka, that may have done something out of integrity and that didn't feel aligned, but they did it anyway because they thought, I am better because I have this gift. Those illusions are being released now, and those podiums are breaking. Those platforms on which and those pedestals on which people have been standing are now falling and cracking. And all these people are now coming to your eye level. You don't see them above you, you see them at your eye level. Yana saruno kurukutara sha'ana salana karaka. Over this whole month, actually, you may interact with people who are gifted, who have so many talents, gifts, and things to share. And this invitation from the vegans is that you see them eye to eye. You don't see them as better than you. Yalana tukuruku, for that will feed the spiritual ego of the collective. And that may also fill a part of your template where when you have those gifts, you may do that too because that's allowed. Yana shuruku, it's dismantling those belief systems. Ya aranata. And the last one that we are going to. Ya harana tukuru no shi'ana kala a. Ya ahanaka. Ya ahanaka is Venus. Yaranatuku ishuru kuru no kushu uinalaka. The gender polarization happened here. Yanasaranatuku in a very remote shadow. Yanashuru no kulu no ku. Woman is better than man happened. Yanashulu no kuturuinaka. Yana shukurunuku. Each needs the other. And yes, there is a unique gift that a woman or a female or a feminine consciousness has. The feminine consciousness can be in a man or a woman, or any gender person a person associates themselves with. But in the physicality of it, there is no one better than the other. Yalana kuru kuru nuku. You say, how come only a woman's body is allowed to bring life? Yana sha'ana tu kuru nuku. Ya sha'ata karanaka. Yes, that makes her special. Yalana kuru kuturuku. And yes, that makes her the creation. Yana shuruku. And we are all gifted with these creators amongst us. Yana shuruku. You are that creator as well. Whether you are a man or a woman, that feminine part of you does give birth. Yanashu ilana kuraka and Yanashu unu kuruku. Instead of seeing that as better or worse, seeing that with love. Yanashuruku, appreciation and honor. It changes the vibration. Yanushurunuku. People in Venus were trying to create a society where the feminine was respected, so that the masculine template could be balanced out. Yena shuruku ita karanaka. We on our planet are going through something similar. Yena shurunu kuruku. And it is not by making one better than the other that we will win this. We will create another cycle of one better than the other, then the other better than one. But if we yena sha'arana kuruku, go into the space with looking at the love and the unique gifts that the feminine brings. Yana Shuruku, look at her with love and not with competition. Whether it is one woman seeing another woman, a man seeing a woman, or a woman seeing a man. Yana Shuruku Runuku. That difference being seen as love and creation itself and honoring that instead of seeing that as better or worse. Yalana Ruku. That balancing is coming upon us through the Venusians. Yaha Sharakarak. Ooh. We've gone through quite a bit of a journey, and now we come back together. Yalanara kurukuru kuita karakasha. I'm seeing many chains are unlocking, many chains are dissolving in our collective field. In each of your fields, I'm seeing many of these are opening. Yana shuruku, the space in your energy is opening more and more and more. Yalana tukuroi sharana shukurunaku. And this whole journey from here to the next couple of weeks for you. Allow it to be the one where you are Yahashanaka, not anybody you need to be, not anywhere you need to go, not any time you need to be where you need to be, but just to be. Yalanasha Anaka, Yahashaya, Yahashaya. And with that, we now complete this month's Akashic journey. Coming back, returning to your space now, returning to your heart now. As you become one with your breath, in your own time, soaking in the joy of all these gifts, rubbing your hands, cupping your eyes. And if you want to stretch, give yourself a nice stretch, and you can slowly come back into this space. We are now complete. Amen.